Let's make some noise. Come on.
Right, indeed, you are Nick Foles. Let's make some noise. Welcome back, everybody, to the long-awaited return of the final word here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network with your boy MattyB on the call, back from about a week off. I was gone. Well, I wasn't really off. I was just off the air for about a week. I did do the Birds Blast last Thursday, but the last time we spoke together on this program was about a week ago. And boy, we got a lot to talk about. There's a lot to get into tonight. Bunch of stuff on the slate. I cannot wait to get going here. Of course, October 7th, it is the official birthday of the It's a Wrap Sports Network. 1 year ago today, this show debuted on this network. The very first show on the It's a Wrap Sports Network debuted on this night a year ago, and I don't think I've adequately portrayed my thanks and my how overwhelmed I've been about the support that the network has received over the past year, not only from the people out there that you guys that contribute to these shows on this network on a daily basis, but to the people that I have the opportunity to be on this journey with, and they know who they are, of course. Al, Mike, Pat, Steve Fuentes, Sal G there for the very beginning of it all. So much thanks to them from the bottom of my heart. I thank them for their time, their service, their professionalism, and the way they've contributed to make this network great. I'm going to give you a little bit of an It's a Wrap Sports origin story tonight. I'm going to tell you how this all came about, because I think it's a story it's worth telling. It's worth telling, especially on this day, our birthday. And of course, everybody out there that's been chiming in over the year and helping us grow, took this from 0 YouTube subscribers to about 154 in a year. I can live with that. I absolutely can live with that. And we are definitely onward and upward into year number 2. So thank you for all your support as we are 1 year old today, the It's a Wrap Sports Network. So that's obviously on the table. I do want to talk a little bit about how this network came to be. Maybe we'll talk that at the end. But of course, the primary subjects tonight. Where do you start, man? Let's spin the wheel of crap and see what comes up first, I guess. Phillies on the brink of elimination, down 2-0. Hate to be the guy. I hate to be that guy. I hate to be the one that sits there and has to wave his hands in the middle of the audience and say, hey, I told you so. And hey, remember me? Been talking about the offensive problems on this baseball team for 4 years and how it's not gotten any better, and there's really no signs on why it was going to get better this playoffs. The Phillies find themselves, due to a series of mishaps with this team, both from the manager and from the offense and from the defense, actually. The only thing that's been actually working well is pitching. Well, starting pitching. Bullpen's been a little up and down. But the Phillies are standing on the brink of elimination, and we're definitely going to get into the X's and O's and what sits and why it is there, because this should not – and I might be the only one in the Delaware Valley that's not surprised. And that's probably the biggest takeaway I can from all this. I'm not sitting here in a state of shock. I'm not sitting here in a state of disappointment because I've been ready for this, since March. When they didn't do anything in the offseason to change the DNA of this team, when they didn't do nothing to address the situation offensively with this team. And then we went through another up and down Phillies MO type of season, and everyone's like, well, what did I hear from Mike Laro? I'm going to throw him under the bus. This team is different. Really? What's different about this? We are in the same position we were in 24, 23, and in some regard, 22. 22 is a little bit of an anomaly because we were running on house money. We made a big run there. But what is different about this baseball team, postseason-wise, and even regular season-wise, that's from any of the other seasons? Nothing was done significantly to upgrade this team. Now, they're going to have no choice this offseason but to change things. They're going to have absolutely no choice but to do that. But I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised to see where we're at. So we're definitely going to get into some Phillies and the Eagles. Man, 4-1 now. They lost to the Broncos 21-17. And again, man, I get tired of being right. There's something wrong with the offense. Nah, it's the play caller. No, there's no problem. Nothing to see here. We're good. A.J. Brown, we're fine. A.J.'s great. You know, Saquon's going to get it going. We don't need Saquon to win anyway. We got Stoutland you. No, man, there's something wrong with this offense. And there's really been something wrong with this offense for years. But, you know, we don't want to address that. We don't want to upgrade it. They're probably we talk about them like they're 0-5. they're the worst 4-1 team in the NFL right now, if you ask me. But off the 21-17 loss to the Broncos, what went wrong? How do you fix it? A.J. Brown, are we on our way to another? Is A.J. Brown on his way to doing sit-ups in the driveway? Is that the pathway of A.J. Brown? Is he going to be doing sit-ups in the driveway before it's all said and done with? And how weird would that be if that's the case? So we're going to get into some Eagles, and the Flyers are mere 48 hours away from dropping the puck on their 25-26 season. We got you covered here on the network as we're going to return with the Clear the Ice show, the Flyers postgame, and it'll come ironically probably just as the Phillies season ends, transition right to another postgame show as we'll get the Clear the Ice thing rolling here on Thursday night. But the Flyers, NHL kicked it off today, series of games today, and around the NHL their season has begun, and the Flyers run to the playoffs in 2025-26 begins on Thursday against the two-time defending Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers. So we're going to get into some Flyers talk. The Of the Night segment returns because we're in October now, and we're going to get back into Of the Night, your day in Philadelphia sports history, and your card review, if we can get to it all. It's going to be a long one tonight, but we're going to get into all that stuff. So hopefully everybody is well on this evening. And let's get it rolling here. Joe Hale says, "Hey, everybody. Joe, how are you?" Joe's wishing the birthday to the network. Yeah, Joe, and real quick, I'll leave the story to the end, but absolutely, thank you, Joe. You are one of the people out there that has been with us pretty much. I don't know if since the beginning. It's hard for me to think back to October 7th, 2024, and remember who was chiming in. I know some of you came along from our past life that I had over in EOP, found us eventually through shows like the Fighting's Final and shows like that. And then, of course, when Al or Mike and Pat and all those guys came over, began to bring some more people over here. So, but yeah, Joe, I definitely remember you being here from the beginning. Alabama. Yeah, I was in Alabama. For about a week. I was there from Wednesday night Thursday through Sunday. And then I was in Ohio for a day. I was up in Canton, Ohio yesterday, and came home last night. So been a traveling man, but I'm back, baby. I'm back. Blessings. Thank you. Thank you, Ricky. Again, Ricky, one of those OGs. Ryan, you're an OG. Me and Matt agreed. I'm telling you so. Yes, Ryan, we've been talking about it. You, Barbara was one of the ones that have never strayed from the path. And that's why I am not shocked. I'm not sitting here in a state of disappointment or dismay. I would be more pleasantly surprised, obviously, if the Phillies were winning, but I'd be more shocked if the Phillies were winning the series. And I'd be more shocked if the offense had finally woken up after 4 years. That would be more shocking to me than what's actually happening on the field. I'm not in a total state of shock or disappointment either. Again, Ryan, from your lips to my ears, as I just said that. So yeah, I agree, Ryan. And we're gonna have some fun talking Phillies tonight. But let's get it going here on the program, as we always do with your day in Philadelphia sports history. Let's strap it in, strap it on, strap it up. Let's begin. Keep your head, hands, and feet inside the car at all times. And here we go on this day. Very fitting that we're talking Phillies disaster, because on this night back in 1977, probably the most infamous Phillies disaster took place at Veterans Stadium. Tied at a game apiece in the best-of-5 NLCS, the Phillies led the Dodgers in Game 3, 5-3 in the top of the ninth with 2 outs and the bases empty. A bunt single, a fielding blunders by Greg Luzinski and Ted Sizemore on the same play landed the Phillies in a precocious situation, holding on to a 5-4 lead with a runner on third base and Davey Lopes at the plate for LA. What followed was reminiscent of the infamous Pebble play that highlighted Game 7 of the 24 World Series between the Giants and the Senators, perhaps the greatest game ever played. In the 12th inning, a routine ground ball to third reportedly hit a pebble and careened into left field, allowing the winning run to score for the Senators. That was in 24. In the Phillies case, the routine ground ball to third hit a seam in the Veterans Stadium carpet, bouncing off of Mike Schmidt to Larry Bowa, who completed a barehanded gem to first, seemingly just ahead of the chugging Lopes. Only first base umpire Bruce Fremming didn't see it that way. Fremming called Lopes safe, plating the tying run. Lopes eventually scored the game winner on a single by Bill Russell, snatched a critical 2-1 series lead and a World Series berth the following day. It was Philadelphia's own personal shock heard round the world, coined Black Friday. That's right. Black Friday by the press. It was more of the same for the anemic franchise and perhaps the first in a long line of slanderous black marks on Veteran Stadium's infamous playing service. So, yes, Black Friday today, 1977, against the Dodgers, by the way. So, a seemingly poetic day in Philadelphia sports history. I was not old enough to understand Black Friday at the time, of course. I was only 4. But as you grow up as a Phillies fan, you become sucked into the lore of the team and you eventually get the information about Black Friday. And if you watch the series of events in that 9th inning, the technology doesn't exist. The camera angle doesn't exist. The camera technology doesn't exist. But the Greg Luzinski play was a ball that Luzinski went up on the wall to play. It looks like from the 1977 technology that he might have trapped it against the wall. Now, I've seen multiple other angles of that as they try to slow it down and like clear it up a little bit. It's hard, though. There's no way from a standpoint. Don't forget, back then, you didn't have umpires all up and down the baselines. You didn't have cameras everywhere. You didn't have any of that stuff. You had a guy that's standing on third base because that would have been the third base umpire's call. Probably about halfway between third base down the line as he's running out towards the outfield. So you didn't have the greatest viewpoint. And, you know, did he trap it? Did he catch it cleanly? He says he caught it. Of course, he's going to say that. But then the ball gets thrown into the infield and gets thrown away at first base. And then the Mike Schmidt play happens where the ball hit the seam of the turf. And then, Larry Bowa does make a great play. And then that play at first, I'm sorry, man, he's safe. I've watched that play from multiple different angles. The dude's safe. He beat it out. Davey Lopes beat that play out. I don't know why that's such a that's always hanging in the balance. But it's the Greg Luzinski catch that's mainly called into question when you talk about Black Friday. But yeah, Black Friday today. And again, poetically, as the Phillies stand on the precipice of elimination to the Dodgers yet again, we celebrate the Black Friday game of 1977 against the Dodgers in the LCS. So there you go. That's your day in Philadelphia sports history. Getting it going on a positive note as we talk about positivity. But no, Black Friday was definitely, and I know a lot of people who were there at that game. I've talked to some people throughout the years that are actually at that game. Talk about thinking you're walking around with a dark cloud hanging over your head. Nothing could go right? Nothing is ever going to work out for this team. Now in 78, they would once again lose to the Dodgers in the LCS before eventually breaking through in 80, getting past the We Are Family 79 Pirates. So they won the World Series in 79. Then the Phillies' day was to come in 80. But as we look back upon the great eras of Phillies baseball, and this is a good segue into our first segment, 77 to 83 is probably the best era, the first best era of Phillies baseball. Then you're looking at 08 to 11. And now you look at 22 through, is this it? Is 22 through 25, is this the end of the era of this current regime of Phillies baseball? And I don't know if you can even classify this era as great Phillies baseball. The one thing that the 77, 83, the 08, 11 groups had in common was they at least won a World Series in there somewhere. This 22 through 25 group, they're not going to win a World Series. Now, I'm not saying, is this the end? I mean, is this the end of, is the window closing now? And if we don't somehow come back from the brink of, and there's no, folks, they're not winning this thing. It's the series over. I wholeheartedly expect the Phillies to lose tomorrow. I really do. But if they do lose, and this does signal the end of the era, and we won't obviously know that until next year, but do you look back at 22 through 25 in the same way you look back at 77, 83, and 08 to 11? Do you look back at, do you categorize them or put them in that and into those two baskets of great Phillies of great Phillies baseball? They didn't win a World Series. And honestly, I'm having a hard time assimilating greatness from this era of baseball versus the greatness that you saw from 77 to 83 with players like Schmidt, McGraw, Rose, Boa, Lazinski, and then you got Hamels, Utley, Rollins, Howard. You got those guys from 08 to 11. Who are we talking about in this group? Castellanos, who apparently is feeling the pressure of being booed at his own home stadium. Well, man, listen. For Castellanos' own safety, they don't need to come back from LA, because obviously that game yesterday was probably his final game in Citizen Bank Park as a Philly. For his own safety, he doesn't need to come back into Philadelphia wearing Phillies red, playing in front of that crowd. After those comments that he made about, I really don't like the fans' energy when it's working against us. What soft ass era of athlete? What our country, man? And he's not young. I mean, he's in his early 30s. And I know they're just soft. They're soft. They're younger. But boy, if this is an indication of what this generation, of how they're being raised, man, I weep for this country. I truly do. You're going to sit there and make a statement like and then Alec Boehm jumped on his coattails. Obviously, Alec Boehm, Nick Castellanos are going to be square dab in the crosshairs of Phillies fans all offseason about when, not if, but when they get moved and how. But to make comments like that about your own fans, you should be ashamed of yourself. And it is true. There's a special breed of person who gravitates to this city. A special breed, especially for athletes, coaches, sports people. There's nobody like us. I don't know of many MattyBs floating around out there. I don't. But I am in the right group. I belong here in Philadelphia with these people. But Nick Castellanos, man, Alec Boehm, boy, woo, man, just back up the bus over yourselves. Just don't get it. Oh, man. Yeah, I think we can open the phone lines tonight. The only thing I'm shocked about is how bad Kyle has looked to play. And yes, MP. Look, I mean, let's get into this. We really haven't we haven't really dove into it. Let's get into what's happening. First and foremost, as we analyze the starting lineup throughout this series, what in the hell? After this is all said and done, we're going to sit down and do a review show on the Fighting's Final. By the way, the Fighting's Final will be back tomorrow night. Yes, right. We will be back. We will finish this thing out. And hopefully we continue on. But here's your Fighting's Final lineup tomorrow. I got you tomorrow with Big Al. So me and Big Al are going to have it tomorrow night. So I don't know if we're going to be the ones saying goodbye to this thing. But me and Big Al will do the Fighting's Final tomorrow night. So there will be no final word tomorrow, as I'll be on post game. But as we kind of later on, after everything is done, we're going to do a post-mortem of the season. And hopefully on the tenure of Rob Thompson, because, easily he's going to be the first sacrifice to the fan altar. He's got to be. He's the easiest one to sacrifice to us. The rest of them are going to be hard. It's going to be hard to get someone to take Castellanos off our hands. It's going to be hard to try to get fair value for Alec Boehm. But Rob Thompson's low-hanging fruit for the altar of sacrifice to the fans. So he should be gone within hours after they get eliminated. But this manager's inability, and I'm not pinning this on the manager. I just want to be very clear. Yes, we're going to talk the bunt, which in baseball fundamentals never should have happened. That made no sense. Nobody out, runner on second. Why are you bunting? Why are you bunting in that situation? It makes no sense at all. And then the execution and the poor base running by Castellanos. And the poor plate discipline of Bryson Stott not to pull that thing back once he sees the third and first baseman's charging in on. Pull it back, slap bunt that bad boy down the line or through those two big gaping holes between second and third and second and first. So the fact that they were running a bunt there was bad, but the fact that the player did not override that stupid call with some baseball sense of his own, I don't hear anybody going in on Bryson Stott today. Why is Bryson Stott not the whipping boy for that play? Yes, Rob Thompson deserves responsibility for calling that bunt there. But where is Bryson Stott's accountability for actually executing the bunt and not seeing an opportunity and a bad decision to bunt because it just ain't going to work? You know Castellanos can't move out at second base. You see that Muncy and Freeman are playing like literally on top of you. Slap bunt the hell out of that ball into the hole. So where's Bryson Stott's accountability on this day? I have heard nothing aimed at Bryson Stott. It's all towards Rob Thompson and Castellanos. Well, Bryson Stott, he deserves a little of this. But Rob Thompson, when we kind of postmortem all this, the maddening way he was loyal to some things and extremely disloyal to others is going to be the number one thing that I'm going to have a problem with what he was a manager. The inconsistencies of Rob Thompson, basically everything from the bullpen with no roles to the ever changing daily lineup, which again now is starting to rear its ugly head. Alec Bohm batting fourth. Can anybody explain where that in any universe? Why is Alec Bohm batting fourth on any baseball team? I'm asking for a friend because I can't. I've knocked my head about it this week. I've went into a hypnotic trance to try to find the answer, and I can't find the answer. Why is Alec Bohm batting fourth? Not once in game one. No, we're going to double down and do it in game two as well. Why isn't Kyle Schwarber batting fourth? And why did it take so many years to get Kyle Schwarber out of the leadoff hole, get him in the fourth at some point during the season, but now he's up to batting second? So to me, that is the aspect of this is on the manager, is his inability to control his lineup, to give his players an opportunity to get comfortable within that lineup and actually put the right players in the right lineup spots. That is why I blame Rob Thompson. Yeah, do I blame him for calling for a bunt in that situation in the ninth inning? Yeah. But I also blame the player for not recognizing that that's a stupid call. I have an opportunity here to slap bunt my way on. I'm going to take that versus laying down a bunt. All right. So that to me is the most frustrating thing about Rob Thompson. Now, Rob Thompson is not also the one who's gone collectively. What's the top 4 or 5 in the lineup gone to for 27 throughout this series? Bryce Harper continues. And you know, today it was funny because it's finally catching on, right? It's finally, the criticism of Bryce Harper is finally starting to like pop up. It's not like it's got like momentum around it, but it's starting to pop up. And it's almost like people, and not just homers. And please, I'm not singling out the homers here because everyday Phillies fans were very leery about criticizing Bryce Harper. But now it's starting to gain a little steam. Because what has Bryce Harper done? And not just in these last 2 games. These last 2 games is a microcosm of what he hasn't done over the last 2 seasons. Well, in my opinion, since 2022. And again, I'm going to sit here and claim to be the smartest one in the room on this because I've been on Bryce Harper's ass since about 2023. About maybe this isn't working out. Bryce Harper has provided this team absolutely nothing offensively all season long. People are saying, well, he's had an uncharacteristically down season down to his standards. Well, what about 24? What about 23? Those were all the same type of season. we have blinders on for certain players, and I get it. The homers do control the media. I understand that. But to sit here and say that he's had a bad season, you're absolutely correct. But it's not just been 2025. This has been a trend. It's been picking up momentum since 2020, the end of 2022. Kyle Schwarber, who since that 4-home run game back in August, or was it in early September? I don't even remember, has been a shell of his MVP candidate self. A shell of that self. Since that 4-home run game. And now we're not even talking about re-signing him. He's worked his way from MVP candidate to, you know what, maybe we don't re-sign him in about a month. That's amazing. Utterly amazing that he's worked his way from the darling of Philadelphia to, you know what, maybe we take that money and invest it elsewhere. Which I understand and I agree. And again, I'm gonna break my arm tonight by patting me on the back so much. I floated that theory that, you know what, matter of fact, I was on board with trading Kyle Schwarber at the trade deadline to bolster our chances of winning a World Series this year, seeing how he was going to be a free agent. Nothing from Schwarber. Turner, since coming back from the IL, has been terrible. I mean, he got a couple hits last night, or he got one hit. Real Muto's been pretty constant. I mean, he's been the only constant offense the Phillies have had. Bowen's been nothing. Castellanos, that double, let's face it, man. That was also a very lucky. That was one of the worst. That was a typical Nick Castellanos at bat. That was about to end in a strikeout because he was swinging at everything in the ground, but he got lucky and he poked that hit. That I think he was as surprised he hit it as we were because he was about to strike the hell out. But everything that the Phillies have been in the postseason and for the most part of the regular season is here. So why are you shocked? Why are you shocked? I don't get it. I don't get it. I'm trying to wrap my head around it. Do we just won? The only thing I'm yeah, Kyle, Matt, can we celebrate your birthday on live? It's not my birthday. It's the network's birthday. Ricky, going back to that 77 series, the team had won the regular season series, always lost their playoff series, and it's going to happen this year again. It is, and we turned the tide against the Dodgers a little bit there, 83, 08, and 09. But they always come back around. And boy, at least it's not like a Black Friday. At least it's something that didn't carry them off the damn wall or something. They need to get rid of Harper, but they won't. It's not, see, and we're going to have plenty of time to talk about this Joe Hale in the winter. And listen, I don't even think Dave Dombrowski can word salad his way out of this. And there needs to be accountability placed on him too. We cried about it. I cried about it all winter. What are you doing? Jordan Romano, Joe Ross, Max Kepler? This is it? This is your offseason? Really? So Alec Boehm's going to figure it out. So Nick Castellanos is going to figure it out. So everyone's going to bat their average. I mean, there was so much like concern and confusion about Dave Dombrowski's offseason. But he said everything was going to be fine. And going into the offseason, he said he was open to have some real change. That didn't happen. Now, there's no way he can word salad his way out of this. There's no way he can go up in front of the Philadelphia Phillies fan if they lose tomorrow. And if they lose tomorrow, and again, I'll be on the Fight and Smile, so please check us out. Me and Al should be fun. If they lose tomorrow, then to me, that is the regression in 2025. I know that they technically did not regress because they're in the NLDS again, right? Because a natural regression from losing last year's NLDS would be to lose in the wild card round, but they didn't qualify. They were better than the wild card round. But to get swept out of the NLDS, that to me works as the regression for 2025. That works for me. That's almost like, that is to me like losing in the wild card round. So yes, it'll be, the regression will continue. But to sit up there and try to tell the Phillies faithful in November or whenever the hell he comes on and does his little end of season thing that hopefully will be without the manager because he'll be fired. But when he gets up there and he tries to sit here and say that he likes our team, somebody needs to punch him in the face. Throw a boom mic at him, slap him, do something. Because the DNA of this team needs to be changed. But as far as getting rid of Harper, and as far as getting rid of Turner, and as far as getting rid of Castellanos, I know it's popular to sit up here, and it's therapeutic to sit up here and say, we got to get rid of them. But let's look at the reality of this. How? How do you get rid of Bryce Harper? You can't. Unless you take a major bath on his money. I said, I still think that, and I floated this theory up last week. The A's are a perfect team to take Bryce Harper off our hands. They need a face of their future franchise being in Vegas. Why not Vegas's favorite son, Bryce Harper? I'm prepared to eat 60% of his remaining salary. 60% of it. You send me Nick Kurtz, or well, I just look around your farm system. You got plenty of prospects in the A's farm system. I want to take a good one, but you got so many really good ones. You're not even going to miss the guy I want. You send me back one prospect, a catcher, and we'll make this deal happen. Maybe you can make something like that go down. Maybe Dave Dombrowski can make that phone call and maneuver that with the A's. I don't know. But other than that, I don't know how you get off of Bryce Harper. I don't know how you get off of Nick Castellanos. I know he can't come here. I know the words he said going out the door have sealed his fate here in Philadelphia. He could never show his face here at CBP in a Phillies uniform again. And if they do somehow miraculously find their way back here for Game 5, a showering of boos are going to accompany Nick Castellanos whenever he either takes the field or goes out to home plate. And do you really want that in a situation where the Phillies are going to be fighting for, if they get back here, fighting for a series? Nick Castellanos is done here. He has sealed his fate because now he's got the fans against him. And once that happens, there's no coming back from that. You don't, in Philadelphia, you don't come back when the fans turn on you. There's no coming back. And Alec Boehm making a similar statement last night about the fans. Now, at least Castellanos had life in his eyes. Did you see his interviews? Castellanos, looked like he was alive. Alec Boehm looked like somebody killed his puppy right before they were talking to him. Sound like his eyes were all sunk back in his head. Look, he was crying. I'm like, dude. But Alec Boehm, to a lesser extent, has also sealed his fate with the faithful. And Nick Castellanos definitely has. So it's not a matter, they got to get rid of that. And I don't know how they can, but it's going to be hard to get rid of, maybe not too hard to get rid of Boehm. You're going to take a bath on Boehm. You're not going to get what you think he's worth because nobody's giving you anything for him. But you got to move off of Boehm. You got to move off of Castellanos. Those two cannot return. And if Game 5 does happen, we have a whole other story to talk about. Now we have the players against the fans against the players, and you're trying to win a series. This is a mess right now for the Phillies. An absolute mess. But I don't know how easy it's going to be. I don't disagree with you, Joe, but I don't know how you can. Stinking Yanks just took a 7-6 lead. Well, the Yankees are fighting their way back from a 2-0 deficit. In reality, Rob reverted his lineup back to what he did last year versus the Mets. Same four players at the top. Yeah, I got it, man. And, Rob Thompson, for all his stuff, a pretty damn good regular season manager, which I don't, and that's another, this whole regular season versus the playoff thing. Either you're a good manager, or you're not a good manager. You have 162 games to play with in the regular season. You got a very limited amount of games in the postseason to play with. Rob Thompson's a terrible manager. Just right to the point. Right to the point. 2022, Wheeler in game 6. Should have left him in. 2023, why are you going back-to-back nights with Kimbrel? 2024, what are you doing with the bullpen? 2025, but Alec Bohm batting fourth. You got Armando Sosa in the starting lineup last night, and you also got Otto Kempen. Why are they in the starting lineup? Don't give me lefty versus righty. Read the room. Otto Kemp making his postseason debut in a must-win game. Hey, I'm an Otto Kemp guy. I think it's a great story, and I wish Otto Kemp nothing but the best. But a postseason debut when your back is up against the wall maybe isn't the place to put Kemp. And what the hell is Sosa doing out there? Why wasn't Stott starting? Again, he's not a good manager. He's never been a good manager. He's been taken care of by the talent around him. And now it's coming to bear. And this is another thing you throw into this whole mix of why I don't think the Phillies are going to return from LA still in the playoffs. When you get to this point of a series and you're literally on life support, you're not only managing for the game, for your playoff life, you're literally managing inning to inning to inning. The Phillies season has been reduced down to the inning. And Rob Thompson has to win every inning from this point for the rest of this series. And do you have faith and confidence that he can do that? And the answer is no. He has to outmanage Dave Roberts, which is not really a hard thing to do. But he has to outmanage Dave Roberts, not game to game, not for the series, but inning by inning by inning. He has to win every single inning as a manager from this point forward. And it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. One of my biggest gripes is why are you carrying Taijuan Walker, Tim Maiza in a 5-game series? You had Stubbs on the bench for a month, and now they could have used his legs. He's not there. Great point, MP. What do they carry? 13 pitchers into this series in a 5-game series. You don't need 13 pitchers in a 5-game series. With the amount of days off this series has provided the Phillies. Game 1, day off. Game 2, day off. Game 3, 4, day off. Game 5. You didn't need all those pitchers. You could have blown your bullpen out literally night after night. The exception, of course, Game 3 and 4. But you could have blown your bullpen out in Game 1. You could have blown your bullpen out in Game 2. 100%. You didn't need all those pitchers. I agree. 100%. Fire Rob, Star Wars says. I don't know about it. Yeah, of course. But he won't get fired. He'll retire. Harper's contract isn't outrageous anymore. There's a sucker team out there that would trade for him. Listen, I don't disagree with you. And I'm telling you, the A's, man. The A's, I just see in my dreams the A's. I see Bryce Harper in yellow and green. I do. Send him home. But the contract is, I think it's enough outrageous for the type of player he has become. He's not getting better. This is not a slump for Bryce Harper. This is him reverting into this new person, this new player. He's getting old. So by what he's providing you on the field, the contract is outrageous, if you get my drift there. Are the phone? They will be open, yes. Trey Turner needs to go. I'm a Trey Turner guy. Man, I get a Flyers keychain. Oh, awesome. Ricky's going to show me a Flyers keychain. Yeah, Ricky, I'll get the phone lines open, I promise. But the Phillies find themselves down 2-0. Tomorrow night, Aaron Nola will be battling against, was it Yamamoto? Nola and Yamamoto. 9 o'clock start here on the East Coast. That means we'll be coming at you with the Fighting's final sometime around midnight here on the network. And again, here it is one last time. Me and Big Al got you for Game 3. We don't have anything. Well, I have a schedule for Game 4, but we're not looking to Game 4 right now. We're going to look to Game 3. But me and Al will have you tomorrow for Game 3, and then on Thursday night. Listen, if the Phillies do win tomorrow, and I do hope they do, just for the preservation of the season, push this thing into Thursday. Thursday night's going to be a night like we've never had on the network if the Phillies win. We're going to have the Birds Blast. We're going to have the Gridiron Weekly. Then we're going to have a series of post-game shows starting all around 10 o'clock. Flyers, Clear the Ice, which I have. Then you got the Eagles coming in somewhere around 11:30 midnight against the Giants. And then sandwiched in there, if the Phillies do win tomorrow, would be Game 4, Fighting's Finals post-game at around the 9 o'clock hour. So you're going to have – it's going to be a crazy night if the Phillies get through into Game 4. But we'll have it there, though. We'll have it there. Will Nola Moto last 2 innings? I hope so. And then what about that? What is your take on that? Nola. Game 3. Is he the best guy for this job? Is there something going on with Ranger Suarez that we don't know about? Are they holding him back for Game 4? I mean, your season's literally on the line. Now, it's funny because Nola has sort of depreciated to this guy. Everyone looks at this game and sees Aaron Nola attached to it, and it's, oh no. And this is the guy that we just gave a big contract to a couple years ago. But is Nola the best option here? I think he is. I honestly do. I think Aaron Nola is your best option. And I think Aaron Nola, he's going to come out at least from the first to the third inning. He's going to pitch well. Don't know when they get around to the lineup the second time, you better have everybody warming up. I don't know how far it's going to go, but I think Nola's going to surprise some people tomorrow, and we'll know right off. We'll know by the middle of the second inning if we got the good Nola or if we got the bad one. We're going to see where that breaking ball is hitting. If it's hitting around like here, we got the bad one. But if it's going down at your knees or your ankles, we got the good one. So we'll know very early on what Nola we get. But I'm kind of liking the Nola thing. I really am. Just for the mere purposes of we're paying him to be this guy. But fittingly, though, this could be the end of the season, and Nola could be the reason for it. I don't know. That's Rob being loyal. He trusts him. Yeah, but MP. Here's the thing. Why shouldn't he? We're paying him that way. And would you feel better? Because whether it's tonight, tomorrow, now you're looking at Sanchez for 5, right? They would hold on to Chris Sanchez for Game 5, or would they go back with Sanchez for Game 4? What would you do? Because you do got to look beyond Game 3, technically. I would much prefer. Well, when was Game 1? Game 1 was on Saturday, right? Tuesday, Wednesday. So actually, Sanchez would be available for Game 4. I don't know. I tell you what, as I said, the minute Nola gets into trouble, I mean, like the first walk, if it's in the second inning, he's gone. You're going with Walker Buehler or you're going with Ranger. One of them two are coming in the second inning. So I don't know. I kind of see the philosophy with this. I think Ranger is hurt. There's been some reports of that. I went to the Mets game a few weeks ago when Nola shut them out 1-0. He also pitched a gem last week versus Twins. Hopefully it's good Nola. Yeah. Or it's not. And that's the problem. We don't know. Sanchez goes. Yeah, so right. So it would be Sanchez in 4, Luzardo in 5, right? That's how they would close the series out. So listen, you got to look at it this way. You got to look at tomorrow's game as Nola, Walker, Suarez, Buehler. All of them are starting tomorrow. You got to look at it like that. You got to look at it like it's not just Nola going. It's Nola, Walker, Nola, Walker, Buehler, and Suarez all pitching tomorrow. And as soon as Nola gets in trouble, they got to make a move. Nola just happens to be the first name you put out there. Luzardo in Game 5. Matt, my birthday is October 31st. Oh, no kidding, Ricky. Happy Halloween birthday, man. That's awesome. Tomorrow's a bullpen game. Rob said Ranger will follow Nola. Yep. Yeah. So there you go. So Nola just happens to be the face of that. But I don't know, man. And as we'll get closer to the end of this, when the season when it does unravel and when it does sort of bottom out, and again, I'm going to pat myself there on the back, and I can't wait to take my victory lap around the network here, because for years I had to listen to the homers. For years I had to listen to them. Everything's all right. Nothing to see here. Now, there's problems here. And I'm more interested to know what the next season will bring. And I don't mean 26. I mean the offseason. I want to see what is the change that's going to come. Does Schwarber get re-signed? Does Suarez get re-signed? Does JT get re-signed? Do they say to hell with all of you? And we're going to look elsewhere. It's going to be interesting. Of course, does Rob Thompson come back? And if Rob Thompson doesn't come back, then who? I've always advocated for Don Mattingly. But now Bruce Bochy's available. He just got fired. I definitely like some of the managers that are floating around out there that are available. I like it. And you're definitely going to have to clean house, though. If you want to bring in a manager like a Bruce Bochy or Don Mattingly, you cannot have this team here when they bring them in because of how entrenched these players are about how they conduct their business and about what Rob Thompson let them get away with. They're going to have to clean house to help out whoever the new manager is. They're going to have to. I'm actually have a funky good feeling about tomorrow night. Phils have a great history of playing well in LA. I don't. Yeah, this is the end. So sorry, man. It's the end of the road, man. Can you please open the phone lines before Ricky goes to bed? All right. Let's get him up here. All right, so the phone lines are open, folks. Coming through your computers right now is the link. You guys can jump on. All I need to be able to do is talk to you. I don't have to see you. If you don't have a camera, that's fine. But I need to have the ability to communicate with you. Click on that link. You'll get put backstage. I'll bring you on, and we can talk whatever you want. Matt, can we celebrate my birthday on live? Yes. Halloween, that's a Friday. I won't be here. I don't do the show on Fridays. You can talk with Pat and do it on the wraparound. Heard Joe Madden on the radio today. He sounds like young and still smart. Joe Madden, good Lord. He's somebody younger than that. Donnie Mattingly or Bruce Bochy. It's my candidate for manager. So the Phillies are down 2-0. And then the other topic in the city right now, let's get into the Eagles real quick. And, of course, Phillies are still on the table, but I do want to mention the Eagles. 21-17 winners with the anemic offense continues to sort of spuddle and spraddle its way down the road. Of course, you got situations going on now with A.J. Brown. Me and Kyle talked about it a little briefly on the Birds Blast last week. Kyle's one of those homers that say, nothing to see here, folks. Everything is A-okay. You got A.J. Brown quitting on routes. You got A.J. Brown in that weird thing at the end of the game where he's up with Devontae Smith and they're battling for the same ball. It was kind of weird. And you got A.J. Brown. You just got A.J. Brown. And now there's some self-admission from the Eagles that there might be a problem with the offense. Now, I tell you that problem's always been there. And that the reason why we're talking about a problem with the offense is because Saquon Barkley is not anywhere near the type of runner he was last year, at least through 5 games. And the offensive line also is a shadow of itself. So, got some problems going on with the Eagles as well, and we're going to get to that. But first, let's bring Ricky on. Ricky, what's going on, man? How are you? And there's Ricky's keychain. Ricky Deal, you got the Flyers starting in about 48 hours. Are you excited for the Flyers, Ricky?
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to win the Stanley Cup this year?
Mm-hmm.
I love you, Ricky. I don't know how to answer that. I don't think they're going to. I think they're going to be exciting. I think the Flyers will be a fun ride. And don't forget, Ricky, here on the It's Rap Sports Network, you got to tune into the Clear the Ice, the Flyers postgame show, every postgame this season. Me, Pat, Mike. I don't know if Al's doing it, but we'll take you through the Clear the Ice. So, anything else, Ricky? Ricky, Phillies, man, what's going on with the Phillies, Ricky?
Nick, you put me on first. Can you put me on first flyer? Here.
Do you think the Phillies have a chance in this? Do the Phillies have a chance?
Yeah.
Can they come back? Can the Phillies come back, Ricky?
Mm-hmm.
I hope they can. All right, Ricky, we'll talk, man. You have a good rest of your night. All right, buddy?
Yeah.
All right, Ricky deal. Ricky thinks the Phillies can come back and the Flyers can win the Stanley Cup. To be Ricky deal. How are you, Joe?
I'm good. Happy anniversary, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Yes, I am an OG. I go back to when you started.
Were you following us over at EOP, or did you join us here with the network?
I was on EOP.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell you how I got involved following you guys. Mike was at his show. Mike Luro, when he wrestled, told me about the network, the old network, and then that's how I followed you to the new network.
Okay. Well, thank you, Joe.
Yes, I think the Phillies are going to win tomorrow. Win in LA and lose in Philly. Here's why. They're going to get booed out of their mind and they're not going to know what to do. Castellanos is gone. I had so I worked for Wawa, and the argument we got into was why. So a customer wants to keep Castellanos, and I said why. I said get rid of them, and if they do, you're gonna. I think Schwarber walks. I really do, and I can see this team rebuilding. Here's the name I want: Rocco Baldelli.
As manager?
No, bench coach.
Okay. Who do you want the manager to be?
I want Boa. I want to.
Joe, he's 105 years old, man. He's not going to do it. He'll have a heart attack.
It's not going to be Bochy because Bochy declined the Giants' job.
What about Don Mattingly? What about Mattingly?
How about the Giants manager?
Gabe Kapler?
No, Bob Melvin.
Well, he's in San. Oh, did he get fired too?
Wasn't he the Giants manager?
Bob Melvin was the Giants manager. Yeah,
he would be good in Philly.
They need somebody, and Joe, I think we were all on the same page by saying if this thing ends the way we all expect it to be, you think they're going to get back to Philadelphia. I did. They're coming back to Philadelphia, not in the playoffs, but I don't see how Nick Castellanos can show his face inside of CBP wearing a Phillies uniform ever again. With what he said the other night, and the same thing with Alec Bohm. Alec Bohm maybe to a lesser extent, but I don't know how Castellanos thinks he's going to be able to show his face. I mean, what we did to Mike Schmidt when he turned on the fans. You remember that? And this is Mike Schmidt, the greatest player in franchise history. Nick Castellanos is not the greatest player in franchise history. So
he had to wear the disguise.
Yeah, because he turned on the fans because of the same thing of the booing and then the criticalness. But Nick Castellanos cannot step foot back in CBP. They're going to destroy him if they get back here. And it's going to be a huge distraction to the game.
I kind of like what Harper said, backing up the rest of the teammates. He basically called out Castellanos, and Bohm said they deserve to be booed. He actually manned up. The problem with Harper is I think him having a kid, too, it's on his mind, but he's been struggling all season long.
He's been struggling since 2022. All right. Now, a part of that's coming back from the injury. Tommy John is not something to shake a stick at, regardless if you're a pitcher or not. He's being paid $330 million to perform at a level that we thought he could perform at. He's not performed to that level since 2022. 19, 20, 21, 22, yes. Since that NLCS MVP, since he hoisted that trophy above his head at Citizen Bank Park, he has not been the same. And he's getting worse and worse every year for whatever reason, age, whatever. And one of the ugliest at bats was that at bat in the I don't know, fourth inning with the runner on second and Harper striking out on an outside sweeper. That was so bad. And everybody knew it. Everybody knew the pitch was going to be outside down and he was going to swing. And that's what's really bad is that we're now become accustomed to this stuff. Harper needs. I don't think you can move him. but you got to entertain questions about moving him. Harper's part of the problem of this DNA of this team. He's part of the problem. And I don't know, maybe you bring in Alonso. You put Harper as DH, bring in Alonso. Maybe it offsets Harper a bit. Is he the lesser of two evils between Harper and Schwarber or Harper and Castellanos? I don't know. And I'm not expecting. What's that?
Can I counter that? If you bring Alonso and you bring back Schwarber.
I didn't say bring back Schwarber now. I didn't say that.
Then who's your outfield? Do you bring back Marsh and left? Are you okay with that?
So my dream outfield, I've actually started putting some thought into this today, and looking at some of the free agents. Obviously Crawford in center. You probably have to put Bader out in left, and then Marsh in right. Because I still think Gabriel Cones Jr. fits into this mix somewhere, but he's not ready quite yet. I'm not necessarily wanting to sign on. There's some players that are intriguing out there. You probably have to look at maybe bringing a bat from free agency. I don't know, but
third.
What's that?
Can returns play third?
No, I don't know if he can play third, but I know. So, and then Bohm is the other interesting question here. You got to get rid of him. You got to move on from him. And I don't know what you do there because you got Aiden Miller, but Aiden Miller's about a year away. You bite the bullet with Otto Kemp. I don't think you can do that. You got to bring in another third baseman, or you sit on Bohm for another year and wait till he hits the open market and don't re-sign him because he's got one more year of team control, and then you let him walk. And then Aiden Miller will be ready by then. So do you just bite the bullet with Bohm?
Well,
who's that?
I would package Bohm and Castellanos and see what's out there.
Yeah, I mean, you could do that.
All right, Eagles. I know you're about to talk Eagles. The play calling sucks. They're going to destroy the Giants. The defense has been stepping up, causing turnovers.
They didn't force any against the Broncos, and the penalties are starting to become a problem.
Okay, did you watch the game?
Yeah, absolutely.
What was your fault on that passing, the intentional grounding call?
Which one? There was two of them. The one they picked up?
Yes.
I either way, I could see it either way, honestly. Just like the fumble that they called, they originally called it a fumble, but then they went back and called it an incomplete pass. I don't know. I know what you're trying to say. I get it, but I get what you're saying.
That fumble was like the Tom Brady tuck rule.
It was almost like that, yeah.
And then the PI was not a PI in the end zone on the last play. I think, and Barkley's hurt.
You think Barkley's hurt? Is that the problem? Saquon's hurt? You're not putting any blame to the offensive line's regression this year? Offensive line stinks this year.
Yeah, Dickerson's out. Breaking news. ESPN reported 4 weeks ankle surgery.
For Dickerson or for Dickerson?
Yeah.
Not Lane Johnson, Dickerson.
Johnson practiced all week. That's a sign.
Well, then we got Matt Pryor now, huh?
No. Who's the one from is it Becton that's here?
No, Becton was here last year.
Who was the one that filled in for a right tackle?
It was Pryor.
Huh? No.
It was Pryor.
No, he's the big
was it Fred Johnson. Fred Johnson
can play Dickerson's spot.
Well, Joe Hale breaking news here. I guess he's breaking that Dickerson is now out for 4 weeks with ankle surgery.
Yes. I'm going to break something else to you. Ricky said Lachenko just made the Flyer team.
Well, I knew that. That's not old news. I saw that this morning. We're going to talk about Flyers at the end of this. But he's on that whole. He's still on that 10-game. Make it or go back to juniors, or actually make it or go back down to the AHL and doesn't count against you. All that. He's still on that thing. But we're going to get into Flyers here in a bit.
And Minchkov has a breakout year. What
We'll see.
the guy that they acquired from Anaheim is going to be sweet for him.
Trevor Zegras.
Yes, Segrist.
Yeah. Well, that starts in a couple of days there, Joe. No final word tomorrow night, Joe, as I'll be on post game. So I'll be back on. Actually, this is the only show this week because Thursday night I got post game again. So I got Flyers post game.
Yeah,
so,
I just wanted to hop on, and you guys make my day.
Well, thank you, Joe. It's our pleasure.
You guys are great.
All right, Joe, we'll talk. All right, Joe Hell checking in. Thank you, Joe, for that. Again, it's our birthday here on the Final Word on the It's a Wrap Sports Network in general. It's our birthday. 1 year ago today, we debuted. Just a quick story about that as we're getting deep into the show. I don't want to keep you guys here too much longer, but at the end of, so I was part of a group called the Edge of Philly Sports for about 3 years. I was with them. I was with them from the end of 21 all the way till the end of September of 2024. And really cannot speak enough about the guys over at EOP, especially Big Al. Al was the one of the managers over there, owners, sorry. Gave me a chance, didn't know me. I met Al via a very frank and upfront text message. And for those of you that are looking to break into this business, you don't knock gently on doors. You break them down. And I had been watching some of the stuff on EOP, and I contacted Al through his Facebook account, and I said, if you're looking for the best, then you found him. Didn't know this guy from Adam at the time. And he gave me an opportunity, and what I did with that opportunity, of course, that's all this country owes you is an opportunity, and what you do with that opportunity is completely on you. And I was able to stretch that out to about a 3-year deal with EOP, doing a show called Talking Philly Sports with MattyB, also hosting Fighting's Final, Clear the Ice, other stuff, projects that I started over there. I did some behind the scenes work with them, as well as writing for them. It was a really great experience at EOP, and I think we were really breaking down that fourth wall. We really were making some headway. Some personal situations in some people's lives caused EOP to change direction, and they basically cut out the digital side of the company, and they're still around. They just do social media stuff now, but. So it left me on the outside with a lot of other people, and but I ain't gonna lie, and me and Al have spoken about this because now we've become friends, and obviously, and now we're colleagues, and we work together on this project. But I told Al that it's kind of a punch the old junk a little bit. I'm not saying I don't understand. I understood why, and I wasn't mad at anybody, but it kind of sucks to put your heart and your soul into a project. And we've all been there, where you put your heart and your soul into a project, and then the carpet gets yanked out from underneath your feet, and you're like, well, what, really? What did I do? So I said, you know what? I'm not going to let that happen again. But I'm like, I don't want to start a network. I still want to do this type of stuff. I don't want to start a network. I just want to go and do a show. So I made a decision to repurpose my own personal YouTube channel and just do one show. It was going to be It's a Wrap with MattyB. That was the name of the show that was going to be. And it was going to be from Sunday to Thursdays at 10 p.m., quite like this format here. But it was going to be a show. It wasn't going to be a network. And it was going to be called It's a Wrap with MattyB because it was going to come on at night to wrap up your day. So started kind of preparing for that. And then I decided, you know what? Screw it, man. I'm leadership material. I'm a natural born leader. So I said, the hell with it. Let's start a network. So I took the name of the show, It's a Wrap, and I turned that into the It's a Wrap Sports Network. And then I created the Final Word, renamed the show that was going to be called It's a Wrap to the Final Word. And on October 7th, the Final Word debuted, and so did the It's a Wrap Sports Network. And we've been driving steadily fast since then into the first year of existence. And of course, we've grown. I think when I started, it was all the stuff I had done at EOP. So it was my show, the Fighting's Final, which was actually technically that was the first show we did because the playoffs were still happening at that time, but they ended right early on. We redid the Clear the Ice here. That was it. It was just those 3 shows. And it was just me. But early on in the process, I reached out to Sal G, who came over to EOP late. And I said, Sal, hey, I'm doing this over here now. Do you want to come on and help me out? And I'll give you a show. whatever you can do for me, post game stuff, whatever. Sal said, absolutely, I'll come over and I'll do some work with you. Gave him the wrap. He did the wraparound. He created the wraparound. Started doing some flyer stuff. Kind of really, it was just me and Sal through the first few months into about February, and then Mike Lauro joined in, and things started to pick up steam. Sal stepped out in April to go out a different direction, and of course, I thank Sal from the bottom of my heart for all the work that he did back in the early days. When this thing becomes a multi-billion-dollar company, and we have like a office building or a high rise, I'm going to name it the Sal G Conference Center. That's what our conference center is going to be called, the Sal G Conference Center. But we continued to grow and continue to grow, and here we are a year in, and I just recently had to start putting together a schedule because it became too much to manage just through memory. So I can't thank you guys enough for the support for the first year, and here's to many more years for the It's a Wrap Sports Network for the final word. And here's to the new undiscovered territory that's out there. Like, I didn't, obviously a year ago today, if you would have tapped me on the shoulder and says this is where I would be today, a year later, I'd be very happy. So there was a lot of unknown and uncertainty getting into this a year ago. So I can't be happier than how things have worked out. And here's to all the adventures that year 2 will bring. And for those that are not yet known to me, that will either join the show as contributors or hosts, or bring a show here or create a show here, can't wait to meet you guys in the future. But it's great to be here, and it's great to be still doing this a year in. So I want to thank everybody. Ricky says, can I come to wrestling? Sure, Ricky. In November, we'll see. Bruce Bochy, 7 years old. Yeah, exactly, man. I mean, I know all these guys are kind of older. I wouldn't be against Bruce Bochy. But Larry Bow was like 170. Not sure where Joe got his info, but I see Dickerson can miss up to 1 or 2 games. Well, he broke some information that Dickerson will miss games. Let's take that out of it. Thoughts on the Bader injury for the Phillies? The Bader thing sucks for the Phillies. And we brought it up a little earlier in the show with the Bader problem not being able to run, and the 13 pitchers. When they started, it's just. But he's still hitting. Hope maybe he can run. Maybe he's okay for game 3. But I don't know, an airplane ride, is that something that's good for a bad hamstring? A 3,000-mile airplane ride? Is that something that you do for a hamstring? So we'll see. Is the Flyer schedule? Yeah, of course it's out. Ricky, the season starts in like 2 days. I don't know. I haven't talked to Sal. He stepped out in April. I haven't talked to him. So Sal, if you're watching, we're thinking about you. How you doing? We miss you. But all right, so the Eagles, as we kind of sort of started breaking ground, a couple of numbers that I want to throw out at you is we talked a little bit about some of the problems me and Joe did. Penalties. And these are some of the things that I've been noticing that, again, my narrative has been 2023. That's kind of the hill I'm dying on right now with this team, because it really seems eerily similar to 2023 right up to this point. It does. We're only 5 games in, but it seems very similar to how things sort of worked out in 2023. And the schedule even is kind of similar in the aspect of, you got some harder teams in the early part, some powder puffs there in the middle. Then the schedule gets considerably harder at the end, a lot like it did in 2023. And things are sort of working out. I don't know. It just seems very deja vu-y for me. And then of course this game that when they lost on Sunday, and I was actually driving and watching Joe had asked me if I watched the game. I did, but I was driving my car. I was driving up from Alabama up to Ohio when the game was on. So yes, I was watching, but also trying to survive on I-71 North or 271 North or I-65 North on a Sunday afternoon through Tennessee and Kentucky, which was pretty crowded for some reason. But yes, I did watch the game. But this game was eerily similar to what happened in 2023 at the Jets game. You guys remember that early season Jets game where against Zach Wilson, where the Eagles had no business at all losing that game, played way down to the Jets level. Jets ended up winning. Eagles sort of shot themselves in the foot a little bit going down the stretch of that game. Very similar to the game on Sunday against the Broncos. And again, it's very deja vu. But some of the things that I am noticing, and I've noticed this since the offseason, and I said this and I warned people about the offseason. I said, listen, if you're expecting Jalen Hurts to win this team, because it all goes back to the Super Bowl, it all goes back to Jalen Hurts, and it all goes back to the misconceptions of the certain members of the Eagle fan base thinking that this quarterback can lead this team by himself to a victory just by his sheer talent. He can't. And apparently he can't even do it with his wide receivers, because right now, if we're 5 weeks into the season, AJ Brown is on his way to doing sit-ups in the driveway. It's going to happen. He is definitely on his way. If this does not fix itself within the next week or two, and what I mean by fixing itself, if AJ Brown doesn't come out of a game with 17 receptions for 316 yards and 5 touchdowns, if that type of game doesn't happen soon, AJ Brown is on his way to a driveway near you to be doing sit-ups very soon. Mark it down. His explosion in 23 came late. His explosion in 2024 came halfway, middle, late. But the explosion in 2025 has happened in week 4 and 5. That is concerning. Very concerning. And yes, Kyle Quinn tried to wish it away by saying, oh, there's nothing to see here. It's sad. It's blah, blah, blah. You know, there's something brewing here with this team. And there's something brewing with A.J. Brown. Do the Eagles do a rope-a-dope? Does A.J. Brown get moved at some point for some maybe defensive help or potential offensive line help? Do the Eagles see the handwriting on the wall for A.J. Brown and try to move him before the trade deadline, which is in about, what, a couple weeks? Does that happen? Could you foreseeably see that to sort of avoid an accident coming, to get away from A.J. Brown before it becomes detrimental to the team? We'll see. But we talked about some of the things. Saquon is obviously the hinge point to all this. Saquon is not producing anywhere near that he did in 2024. Now, was it a fool's gold to think that he was going to replicate 2024? No, I don't think anybody really thought that. And I still think the Eagles could have won or can win if he doesn't replicate 2024, but sort of has a similar season. He's not doing anything right now. And that is the root of why the offense is struggling. And I don't know how I can be more clear to that. It's not because of Jalen Hurts. And it's not because of the play calling. It's because Saquon Barkley, for whatever reason, whether it's the offensive line or Saquon or a combination of both, can't get going. That is why this offense is struggling. There's no reason to look any deeper into it. You can leave Kevin Padula out of it. You can leave Jalen Hurts and the wide receivers out of it. The reason they are struggling is because Saquon Barkley can't get it going. And it's amazing that I'm like one of the only people who see that. That last season and the way Saquon took over was not completely changed the way the offense was. And everything that the offense did last season was on the feet of Saquon Barkley, or was opened up because of the feet of Saquon Barkley. And the fact that people don't see that and are looking for this mystical reasons and blaming Kevin Padula for the offensive struggles is amazing to me. It's absolutely amazing they don't see it. But another part of the Eagles game this year that is very bad, and I talked to Kyle about it briefly, and it was about the defense. And yes, the defense has been the saving grace for the most part. But the defense and their style of play. The Eagles on Sunday, and not all from the defense, committed 9 more penalties for 55 yards. For the season, the Eagles have committed 37 penalties. That's about 7.5 penalties a game. That's terrible. And they've been penalized for 246 yards, 50 yards a game. So you're giving up 7.5 penalties, and of course, we can't do half. So you do the rule of 5, you round up to 8. So 8 penalties and 50 yards a game. That's absolutely terrible. And again, I'm not blaming the defense solely for that, because there's offensive penalties there too. But most of the penalties you see are from the defensive side of the ball. And they're not pre-snap penalties, they're not scheme penalties. No, they're undisciplined penalties. They're personal fouls, targeting, taunting. There's stuff like that. And I mentioned to Kyle, are the Eagles suffering because there's no veteran Brandon Graham-like, Fletcher Cox-like personality on that defense? And Kyle said no. Kyle said no, nothing to see there. I think that's part of the problem why this defense is struggling. because there is no veteran presence. And when I mean veteran, I mean Eagle veteran presence on that defense. They're all pretty much the same age. You don't have that sage of wisdom, that guy, that old man River guy that you can sit back and say, or he can sit back and pull you up when you're going down. So Saquon Barkley not doing anything like he did in 2024 is the bottom line. It doesn't get any deeper. You don't have to do any more investigating with the offense to find out why it's not working. It's not working because Saquon's not. Now, why Saquon's not working, I know he is clipped up a bit. Is the offensive line part of that problem? Potentially. Is it a combination? Potentially. Yeah, I'll give you that. But there's no need to continue to throw dirt on Kevin Abdullah's grave. It's not him. It's not. It's Saquon. 100%. And Jalen Hurts is not capable with his skill set to carry a football team. He's more than capable to go along on the ride and help, but he can't carry a team. And you're seeing that. You're absolutely seeing that. And the fact that people don't see it, can't wrap their heads around why the offense is struggling, it's Saquon, 100%. 4-1, we got a quick turnaround Thursday night against the Giants. Don't forget, here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network, we'll be back with the Birds Blast with Kyle Quinn. It'll be at some point before the game. I'm not going to sit in here and pinpoint 7 o'clock. It might be earlier. It might be probably no later than 7, but we will be back on Thursday. Hell, it might even be tomorrow. I don't know. Tomorrow's still young. And then on Thursday night after the Eagles game, be back here for the Birds flyby. So quick turnaround, Eagles Thursday night football against the Giants, in a game that on paper, Giants have no chance. But this is an important game. This is a huge game. This has got trap game written all over it. And I'll get into that with Kyle on Thursday. So let's get into the of the night segment, and then we'll transition to the Flyers here on our birthday on the It's a Wrap Sports Network. 1 year old tonight. So let's do some of the night. That's right. The other night segment returns kind of after the MLB draft and the NHL draft were over back in July. We were done pretty much with the of the night segment. Then we did some Flyer Spotlight stuff, which took about 2 or 3 weeks. And then that was officially the end of it. And we took a little break, about a month. But we're back. And it starts again tonight as we'll start breaking down some Flyers prospects. That's right. It's that time of the year. We are 2 days away from the start of the Flyer season. The NHL season has officially begun tonight. And we're going to start breaking Flyer prospects down. We're also going to add into this bag of tricks in January. We'll start breaking down NHL draft prospects. And then sometime in February, March timeframe, that's right, MLB draft prospects will return. So the of the night is officially back until about next August. About next August, so it'll go away. So the kitschy little music will be back from this point forward as a regular part of the show. So let's get into our first Flyer prospect breakdown of the season. It is a young man named Max Westergaard. Max was a 2025 fifth-round pick of the Flyers. He is a left wing who plays for Frölunda Hockey Club of the Swedish Hockey League. He is 5'11", 168 pounds. Wherever Max Westergaard goes, he finds ways to produce. He's a productive two-way winger whose offense flows through his off-puck instincts and the ability to anticipate. He shows a strong inside drive in all situations, which helps his teammates too, as he can give them space behind him. He goes in first in battles and is relentless in his his will to win the puck. Westergaard, again, a little bit of an undersized project type of forward. I think he's only 18. So the Flyers are probably going to stash him or keep him over in the SHL for the foreseeable future as he sort of kind of works on his game at one point. But a fifth-round pick. So is there much of a is there high anticipations for a fifth-round pick? I don't know, and I don't know how you can really stack that, but you know, he's got some playmaking ability. He's got some skills. I don't like the size. Obviously, I'm a big proponent of bigger forwards, 5'11", 168. He would get pulverized in the NHL, so he's obviously got to continue to grow. But he's got a good little offensive profile, and he's got the speed and the agility to be a offensive playmaker. And again, a 5th-round pick in a draft where the Flyers had a plethora of draft picks. So he is what he is. But our first Flyer prospect breakdown of the 25-26 Flyer season is Max Westergaard of Frölunda Hockey Club, the Swedish Hockey League. And then every night we'll be tossing in a prospect. They're not prospect. But the Flyers are about to get it going tomorrow night Thursday night in St. Pete against the 2-time defending Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers. And the roster was announced today. The opening night roster of the Flyers has been announced. Some surprises on that roster, and you heard Joe Hale talking a little bit about it. Jetlachenko has made the Flyers. He will be part of the opening day roster, much like he was last year, under the same sort of guys. He's got like 10 games, and if it doesn't work out, the Flyers can either send him back to the Guelph Storm of the Western Hockey League or send him to the AHL. It becomes a situation with the contract now. But I honestly thought Jet was a reach at 13 overall 2 years ago. I still don't think I'm not saying he can't like mature into a decent player, but I know it's all about sort of developing a player. The Guelph Storm stink. They're a bad hockey team. I don't know how much more developing he can do there. It's almost like you're kind of getting your hand forced to put him down in Lehigh if he doesn't make it with the Flyers. But if you put him in Lehigh, his contract will start ticking. And then that's a whole different situation. But Jetlachenko made the team. Some other surprises, I guess, who made the Flyers out of camp this year. Rodrigo Abagols. He made the team as he had a very impressive camp, impressed a lot of the Flyer brass. Alex Ginning also made the team as a defenseman, but I don't know if he made the team because of his performance or as a necessity. The Flyers are dinged up along the blue line. Probably the number 2 area of concern I have is the Flyers defensive core this year. Ristolainen will start the season on IR. Ginning will make it as part of the opening night defense. I'm sure it's going to change about 1,000 times before we get to the end of the season. And they're going to try to mix and match some players in and out until Ristolainen can get better. And also Cam York today was placed on IR as well. So the Flyers are going to start the season missing 2 very important parts of their very inconsistent defense. So Cam York and Ristolainen starting the season out on injured reserve, paving the way for Ginning, paving the way for Igor Zamula to make this team, and Yolson, one of the free agent pickups the Flyers had over the summer, also made the team, again, probably out of necessity. Oliver Bonk did not necessarily make the team out of camp, but he got hurt. There were some indications that he was going to make the team, but he's going to start the season out on IR and be assigned to the Phantoms. I anticipate seeing Oliver Bonk at some point within the first month or two of this year. So there's some prospects there. Forward-wise, we kind of talked about the 2 big names, Lachenko making the team and Abols also making the team for the Flyers. But that's essentially how this is going to get set. Michkov, Zebris, TK, Forrester, Couturier, Tippett, Cates, Lachenko, Brink, Abols, Dvorak, Hathaway, Sealer, Sanheim, Ginning, Drysdale, Zamula, Yulson, and Vladar and Urson are your goalies. There's your opening day roster. And a big shattering, earth-breaking announcement came out of Flyers camp yesterday. The Flyers have traded Ryan Ellis to the San Jose Sharks for a along with a 6th-round draft pick for 2 young defense players. Applause to Danny Briere. He got rid of Ryan Ellis. I don't know how he did it. Well, I do. San Jose needed to clear some roster spots. They needed to clear some contracts. They got some prospects they wanted to kind of bring along. So they needed to get rid of 2 lower level guys, and the Flyers took those 2 off their hands so they could sign those other 2 guys, and they pick up a draft pick and they pick up the rest of the Ryan Ellis contract, which expires at the end of next season. So he's got 25, 26, and 26 and 27 with the San Jose Sharks. So the Flyers clear themselves of maybe one of the worst trades in franchise history. Ryan Ellis finally is traded to the San Jose Sharks. So hats off to Danny B, man, for making that happen, man. Hats off. I'm okay with Danny B so far. I really am. And I said this on the Flyers preview show. I'm taking this season game by game. I'm not looking into any crystal ball. I'm not sitting here telling you, hey, if we run the gauntlet here and we get something. No, I'm going into it one game at a time. First one's Thursday night against the Panthers, and we go from there. So that's how I'm working the Flyers season this year, and that's how I think you have to do it. Honestly, I honestly think that's how you have to do the season. So it is what it is. Can anyone join? What do you mean by that, Steve? What are you asking? So there you have it. The Flyers are going to get it rolling, and we got you covered here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network starting on Thursday night. The Clear the Ice, the Flyer postgame show returns for season 4. I will have you on the opening call against the Panthers. Pat will have you on Saturday, and we will get you rolling into the season that way. And for a bigger, broader view of what's going on the network, here is our week in a glance. I was on tonight. I wasn't originally going to be. I didn't think I was going to be here, but I am here. Here's our thing for tomorrow. Got a pretty full lineup, prop locks and parlays at 7, the Pittsburgh Sports Desk at 8, the Game 3 Phillies Dodgers, and then the final word with MattyB, which will not happen tomorrow because I am on post-game duties Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, the rest of your weekend. So I hope you guys are able to chime in and get involved. So there you go. There's the rest of our we got going on. So let's get to the final segment of our night, which is my favorite segment of the night. Yep, this is MattyB Sports Card Review. This is the time of the show that I take one of my cards from my massive sports card collection. We just have some fun talking about it. We review it. Go over some financial value, nostalgic value, just value in general, and tell you why I like it or don't. Tonight we're back in baseball. We haven't really left baseball. We're also staying in 2025 tops. This card is worthless. I'm going to tell you right off the bat. I am not this is not the 1950 through 52 Mickey Mantle. This is not that card. This is a card that's worth about $1 on most markets. But it's a card of a player who I would love the Phillies to try to make a move to bring here next year. I spoke last week, I think it was, when we talked about the Adley Rutschman 2025 Chrome Tops card, about how I would love to have this kid, playing for the Phillies, because catcher is again, when we get into the offseason, we start talking about who stays, who goes, and why. JT Realmuto's got this team by the balls, man. He really does, because there's no catching prospects anywhere in this organization right now that are near MLB ready. So we'll see what they do with that. But this is yet another young catcher that's in Major League Baseball that I would covet to have. Again, this card is utterly worthless, but the player has got a huge plus side. His only second year in the league was in 2025, and I would love to get him. And he is Mr. Hunter Goodman of the Colorado Rockies, and here is his 2025 Topps Series 2 card, base card number 467 from the Topps from Topps Series 2. Wearing those god-awful, if there's a City Connect uniform out there worse than the Phillies, well, you're looking at it right here, the green Colorado Rocky uniforms from 2024. They didn't wear them this year, but those were hideous. But Goodman is a young, good player, very good, young, athletic catcher who I would love for the Phillies to get, but he's only on like his second year of service with the Rockies, so he's under massive team control for a long time. It would take heaven and earth for them to be able to move to get Goodman here. And I don't know if they have the assets to do it, but I would 100% be on board with picking him up. And this is his 2025 Series 2 card, again, sporting the god-awful City Connect uniforms of the Rockies in 2024 and the classic 2025 Topps borders that they went with. Again, this is the base card. This is the no bells, whistles base card number 467, and it's a Series 2, utterly worthless at about $1. But he's still a player that I like. I'm going to keep it to the side. I'm going to protect it because he's got big upside. And maybe one day he's a Philly. I don't know. But there you have it. There's our card review of the night. The 2025 Series 2 Hunter Goodman card. And that is going to take us to the end of our birthday spectacular show, the It's a Wrap Sports Network, 1 year old today. I gave you the origin story. It started as a show. It was going to be called It's a Wrap with MattyB. And it was just going to be one show, but then it morphed into a network. And that's why I stayed with the name It's a Wrap and just throw sports at the end of it and network. So that's why it's called the It's a Wrap Sports Network, because it was only going to be a show, but then it turned into a network. And I had already created some designs. So, no, I don't know what. I just didn't. I like the name. I love the name. For a show, I thought It's a Wrap was a cool show name, especially for a show that was going to be on at night and later at night. And then when we decided to go with the network, or when I decided to say, you know what, it's going to be more than just a show, it's going to be a network, I said, the hell with it. I'm going to keep the name and just throw Sports Network at the end of it and just roll with that. And that's why it is called the It's a Wrap Sports Network. But we are celebrating our 1 year anniversary, our 1 year birthday, whatever you want to call it. And I want to thank once again everybody out there, everybody that's part of the network, the guys that you see routinely on your screens every night. Sal G, who was with us in the beginning, he's not with us anymore, but Pat, Mike, Al, Steve Fuentes, the guys from the Pittsburgh area that are now part of us, all the guys that are part of what we do here at It's a Wrap Sports. I want to thank them from the bottom of my heart for a great year. And then also tell them that I wish them success and a lot more surprises in the journey ahead, because of all the positive things we did in year one, we're going to blow it out to a different level in year two. We got some things coming up in November. We're going to repurpose one of our shows. One of our shows is getting a new host. We're probably going to add at least one more show as well. And we're going to start spinning this thing up to another level. And there's a couple other ideas in the works. So more things are coming down the line. Philly season is unfortunately coming to an end. But the Flyer season is kicking back off as we are going to start season 4 of Clear the Ice. So something ends, something else begins. But tomorrow night, we will be back for the Titans final, Game 3, Phillies-Dodgers post game. And here you go. Once again, me and Al will have hopefully not the dubious honor of saying goodbye to the season, as we will have you on Game 3. Game 4's host has been identified. There will not be 2 hosts for Game 4. If there's a Game 4, it'll be one guy hosting, and I'll reveal who that is tomorrow if we have to. I'm not going to say it if it doesn't happen. So I'll let you guys know who that will be tomorrow at some point. But until we talk again, you guys have a great rest of your night. Thank you for your support, your likes, your shares, your subscribes. Please spread the word about us out there. We need the help. And here's looking to a great second year. You guys have a great rest of your night. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow on the Titans final and all the other stuff that we got going. A busy night tomorrow on the network, so please be checking your local listings for the shows in your area. Until we talk again, you guys take care.